Are you feeling trapped in a cloud of sadness that just won't lift? As a senior, you've weathered life's storms, but sometimes the weight feels heavier than ever. Dr. Sarah Miller, a leading geriatric psychologist, shares an encouraging truth. You're not alone, and more importantly, you can rediscover joy again. Today I'm sharing 12 practical, proven strategies that have helped thousands of seniors find their spark again. These aren't just feel-good tips, they're life-changing methods that work. Before we begin, share your city in the comments below. Your experience might inspire others. Don't forget to subscribe for more content about thriving in your golden years. 1. Take control of your mind first. When Bob first walked into my office, his shoulders were heavy with decades of experiences. "I've tried everything," he said, his voice barely a whisper. "At my age, what's the point?" Like many seniors, Bob believed his best days were behind him. But what happened next changed not just his perspective, but his entire life. Dr. Johnson, a renowned geriatric psychiatrist with 30 years of experience, shares a profound truth. The mind at 60, 70, or 80 isn't weaker, it's richer with wisdom. We just need to redirect its power. This insight became the foundation of Bob's transformation, and it can be yours too. Start with what Dr. Johnson calls the 3-minute mental reset. Each morning, before the weight of the day settles in, take 3 deep breaths. With each breath, acknowledge one thing: a memory that brings joy, a person who cares about you, or simply the warmth of sunlight on your face. This isn't just positive thinking, it's rewiring your brain's neural pathways, something science proves we can do at any age. Bob began practicing this reset daily. Within weeks, he noticed something remarkable. "It wasn't that my problems disappeared," he explains, "but I found strength I forgot I had." He started keeping a small notebook by his bed, jotting down one good thought each morning. These weren't grand declarations, just simple truths like, "I made someone smile today," or "the coffee tasted especially good." The key isn't to deny your feelings, they're real and valid. Instead, it's about gently steering your mind toward hope. As Dr. Miller often reminds her patients, you've overcome challenges before. That resilience doesn't disappear with age, it grows stronger. Remember, taking control of your mind doesn't mean you have to do it alone. In fact, one of the most powerful discoveries Bob made was how this journey connects to our next vital step, stepping away from the digital noise that often drowns out our inner wisdom. Let me show you how this simple change transformed the lives of countless seniors in our community. 2. Digital detox for real joy. Speaking of digital noise, let me ask you something. How many times have you picked up your phone today? For Martha, a 68-year-old retired teacher from Chicago, the answer used to be too many times to count. Like many of us, she found herself scrolling through social media for hours, looking at perfectly staged photos of her grandchildren's lives, feeling increasingly disconnected from real joy. "I thought I was staying connected," Martha shares, her voice carrying the wisdom of her realization. "But I was actually drifting further away from genuine happiness." Recent AARP research supports Martha's experience, showing that seniors who spend more than 3 hours daily on social media report higher levels of loneliness than those who limit their digital exposure. Dr. Rachel Thompson, a specialist in senior wellness, explains it beautifully. Social media gives us the illusion of connection, but our brains, especially as we age, crave the warmth of real human interaction. Those perfectly filtered photos and carefully crafted posts often leave us feeling like spectators in our own lives. Here's what worked for Martha and what might work for you too. She started with a simple change: no phone for the first hour after waking up. Instead, she began walking to her local coffee shop. "At first, I felt almost naked without my phone," she laughs. "But then something magical happened. I started talking to real people. There was Tom, the retired mailman who always had a joke to share, and Sarah, who knew all about growing orchids. The transformation wasn't instant, but it was profound. Martha discovered that the time she used to spend scrolling could be invested in real connections. She joined her community center's morning coffee group, where she found people who shared not just their successes, but their real struggles too. These weren't perfectly filtered moments, she says. They were perfectly human ones. This brings us to a crucial truth. Real joy doesn't come from watching life through a screen, it comes from living it. Those meaningful moments happen when we connect with real people, share real conversations, and build real relationships. This understanding leads us to something even more vital, creating a support circle that truly nourishes your soul. 3. Building your support circle. After losing his wife, John found himself facing deafening silence. His transformation began with one small step, walking into his local senior center. I felt like an outsider, he admits, until someone simply smiled and said, "We've been waiting for you." Creating meaningful connections doesn't require grand gestures. Start where you feel comfortable. Join a regular coffee group, attend community center activities, participate in church or library events. Find a regular table at your local diner. The key is consistency, familiar faces and voices you see regularly. Remember, you're not looking for hundreds of connections, just a few meaningful ones. 4. Gentle movement as medicine. I thought my arthritis meant the end of activity, Alice, 81, remembers. Now she leads a chair yoga group at her community center. The secret? Starting small and moving gently. Dr. Roberts, a senior wellness expert, explains, movement isn't about intense exercise. It's about keeping your body active in ways that feel good. Try these simple daily movements. Gentle morning stretches while still in bed. Chair exercises during TV time. Short walks after meals. Light gardening or housework. Remember, every movement counts. Start with 5 minutes and gradually increase. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. 5. Finding daily purpose. George felt lost after retirement until he discovered something important. Purpose doesn't retire. When we do, it transforms. Create your daily three small but meaningful tasks each day. Help someone, even with simple advice. Learn something new, read an article, try a recipe. Create something, write, garden, cook. Dr. Martinez notes, purpose isn't about grand achievements anymore, it's about finding meaning in small, daily actions. Start simple. Water your plants, call a friend, organize a drawer. These aren't just tasks. They're threads that weave meaning into your days. 6. Mindful living for seniors. Mary discovered mindfulness in her morning cup of coffee. Instead of rushing through breakfast watching the news, I started sitting by my window, just focusing on the warmth of the cup, the aroma, the taste. This simple change became her daily moment of peace. Dr. Bennett, a geriatric psychiatrist, shares, mindfulness isn't about emptying your mind. It's about finding anchor points in your day, moments where you can simply be present. When feeling overwhelmed, try the 3-3-3 practice. Notice 3 things you can see, 3 you can hear, and 3 you can feel. This gentle exercise brings you back to the present moment, especially during sleepless nights or anxious days. 7. Simple self-care rituals. Eleanor always put everyone else first until exhaustion taught her an important lesson. Taking care of myself isn't selfish, it's necessary, she realized. Her transformation began with creating a golden hour, the first hour after waking. She starts each day with warm lemon water, gentle stretching, and setting one simple intention. Instead of rushing into everyone else's needs, I learned to fill my own cup first, she shares. Evening rituals proved equally important. A warm bath, comfortable clothes, and reading a few pages before bed transformed her sleep. Dr. Wright reminds us, self-care isn't about luxury. It's about maintaining your physical and emotional strength for the life you want to live. 8. Understanding your emotions. Richard, a retired military officer, spent decades believing emotions were weakness. In the service, we were taught to be tough, he shares. But at 76, I realized suppressing feelings was making me sick. His breakthrough came in a grief support group after losing his wife. Dr. Foster, a geriatric counselor, explains, emotional intelligence isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Our senior years bring complex feelings, grief, anxiety, joy, and sometimes loneliness. Understanding these emotions is crucial for mental health. Richard now uses what he calls his weather report, a daily check-in with his feelings. Just as weather changes naturally, he learned emotions ebb and flow. Some days are stormy, he says with newfound wisdom. Others are sunny. Neither lasts forever. The key is accepting each day as it comes, knowing tomorrow brings new possibilities. 9. Creative joy. After 60. Claire never considered herself artistic until age 70, when she first picked up a paintbrush at her local senior center. I couldn't draw a straight line, she laughs. But I discovered art isn't about perfection, it's about expression. Maria Thompson, an art therapist, shares, creating art activates parts of the brain that combat depression and anxiety. Whether it's painting, writing, or music, creative expression gives voice to our experiences. Claire now splits her time between painting classes and a writer's group where seniors share life stories. Sometimes we laugh, sometimes we cry, but we're always creating something meaningful, she explains. Last week, I painted my grandmother's garden from memory. It wasn't perfect, but it brought back such joy. That's what creativity does. It connects us to ourselves and each other. 10. Keep learning, keep growing. Tom laughed when his grandson suggested learning Spanish at 77. You can't teach an old dog new tricks, he'd say. 6 months later, he's reading Don Quixote in its original language and teaching basic Spanish to other seniors at his community center. Dr. Chen, a neuroscience researcher, explains, learning new skills creates fresh neural pathways. The aging brain is remarkably resilient. It thrives on challenges. Even small learning efforts strengthen cognitive function and protect against decline. Tom's success inspired Martha, 75, to join the language group after losing her husband. Learning something new gave me a reason to get up each morning, she shares. While studying vocabulary, I rediscovered myself. Now I'm planning a trip to Spain with friends from class. It's never too late to start a new chapter. 11. Creating a comfort space. Helen spent 50 years making her house a home for others. At 82, living alone, she realized her space needed to support her current life. I was living in a museum of memories, she reflects, rather than a space that nourished my present self. Working with her daughter, she transformed her home with 3 simple principles: light, comfort, and purpose. They opened heavy curtains, added task lighting and reading areas, and arranged furniture to invite both activity and rest. Her favorite chair now faces the window instead of the TV, with everything she needs within easy reach. It's amazing how small changes affect mood, she shares. My home isn't just about storing memories anymore. It's about creating new ones. Even my grandchildren notice the difference. They say the house feels more alive now. 12. Finding inner peace. David, a former executive who raced through life, discovered peace in an unexpected place, his kitchen window. Each morning, I sit quietly for 5 minutes watching the sunrise, he shares. At first, my mind raced like a runaway train. Now, those 5 minutes are the foundation of my day. Reverend Thompson, who leads senior meditation groups, explains, inner peace isn't about withdrawing from life. It's about finding your center amid life's changes. At this age, we've lived long enough to know what truly matters. David's evening ritual includes what he calls his wisdom practice, reflecting on the day's small gifts. Sometimes the gift is just being here. breathing, he says. Other times it's a grandchild's call or a neighbor's smile. Peace comes from appreciating these moments rather than chasing after what's next. As Martha beautifully shared, I used to think happiness was behind me. Now I know it's right here, in every moment I choose to embrace. These 12 steps aren't just strategies, they're pathways back to joy, tested by seniors just like you. Start with one small step today. Whether it's sitting quietly with your morning coffee, joining a local senior center, or calling an old friend, each choice moves you toward brighter days. If you found hope in these insights, please share this video with someone who might need it. Remember, it's never too late to rediscover joy.